Okay, so let's get into Illustrator. Once you launch the app, you're going to be introduced to a welcome screen here. What you want to do is you want to click New File, and let's pick Print. And I'm going to use the tabloid, which is 11 by 17. And I'm going to do Landscape. Of course, I'm going to change that to inches. So 11 inches high, 17 inches wide. I'm going to save that name as tabloid. Let me see here. Is there anything else? Perfect. It's already CMYK color because I chose print. And raster, let's just bring it down to 150 pixels. And I think that's pretty good. So let's just start from there. And this is off if you want auto backup to the Adobe Cloud. I'm just going to cancel it. And I'm not sure if your screen's going to look like this, but let's just kind of go through the basic tabs. You have these window tabs that you can close if you wish. But I don't recommend you close them all. Keep the layers, keep Pathfinder, and then these have I guess, panels inside of them. So keep that. And if you close the window that you want back, you can simply come here and you definitely want Properties tab. That's going to be super important and you want to keep that open at all times. And I'm going to kind of dock this here to the side and take this and then make sure it hits this blue line. Then it kind of docks there. You could actually make this longer. And you could open up more windows as your screen allows and have these things accessible to you at any time. Let's go open up a base file. So you should have already downloaded week 1 and 2 folder. And within that, you're going to have our project basic shape and exercise file. Let's start off with this one. I'm just going to simply drag and drop. Here you go. And you notice that once I do that, it comes in as layer 1. Since I want to just use it as a background and I want to kind of use it as a tracer, I'm going to go ahead and lock that layer and I'm going to create a new layer on top. So this is my working layer. So I'll just name it work layer or shape layer or whatever that is. And then, so now since it's locked, I can't select the bottom, base image. So let's just kind of recreate this. It's a real simple project. I kind of chose it so that you can kind of figure out how to move stuff, copy stuff, rotate stuff. So we're going to start off with a simple rectangle here. And we're going to just trace that. And you can see that rectangle is white and it has a black background. So again, if I select that, it should give me some strokes. So I can make it a 6-stroke, 6-point stroke, 10-point stroke. But in my case, I do not want any stroke. So I'm going to just go none. And so it's just a pure white box. Let me select it over. So it should be some sort of a reddish color. So I'm going to come back here to my fill color. And I'm going to fill it kind of like this red. And again, I don't really care if you guys don't get the perfect color. It's just, I just want you guys to get used to making shapes. You can see that there's a transparency here. So I'm going to select my object, which is my selection tool. Shortcut key would be V, right? So if I can hit V on my keyboard and then come to the selection tool. And then I come here to the properties and I'm going to drop the opacity to like, I don't know, 50% or let's go, yeah, 50%. No, that's too much. Let's do 65% opacity. So that means you can see through, right? So that's just perfect right there. And I'm going to use this as a base to create maybe this one now. So before I click and drag, because if I click and drag, I'm moving. Before I click and drag, I'm going to hold down the Alt button. And then when I come here, you see that the arrow turns with 2 arrows. That means you're making a copy of that object. So now I made a copy. So here I have my original shape here. And I have a copy, right? Which then I'm going to move my cursor to the corner, and then you can see that it turns into this kind of an arc, which allows me to rotate. And I'm going to be close. Okay, 45 degrees. And then I'm going to stretch that down. And then I'm going to turn that to blue. And it's already, opacity is already set for 65 because I copied it from here. So now I just have to turn that blue, and now I have that. So I can turn off my base layer, and you can see what I've created. Let me go back to my work layer here. Hold down Alt, make a copy. Hold down Alt, make another copy here. Bring this guy, click on it, grab the handles, drag it up. I'm going to drag that up and drag that across. And then I'm going to select both of these shapes. So I'm going to select that, hold down Shift, select the other. Now I've selected both of these shapes. And what I want to do is I want to combine them, because right now these are basically two rectangles. You'll see if I turn on the stroke here to black, and then let's turn up the stroke so you can see. So you can see there are two rectangles, all right? And so I want to combine them into one, so it's like a shape of an L. So what you do is you go to your selection tool. You could window cross it like this, or you can click, hold down Shift, click both of those. And then you're going to take this shape builder tool, and you're just going to draw and say combine those two. Now you can see the stroke only goes around the L, so it's a true L shape. I didn't line it up very good here. Oh, by the way, when you want to zoom, you want to hold down the Alt and then use your scroll button on your mouse. And then if you want to pan, space bar. So I didn't do a good job of joining them together. I'm not going to bother, but hopefully you guys will be more careful and make sure that things are lined up. But anyway, and I'm also going to turn off the stroke here. And I think that's going to be green. So guess something like that. Throw that in here. And because they're transparent, you can see both shapes kind of just like the poster. I think you guys get it now. Let me just do one more. For instance, like cutting the shape. Hold down Alt. Move this over. And then let's turn that pink-ish color. And obviously, this shape's been cut off. The easiest way to do it is to draw another rectangle and completely overlap it like that. So this rectangle is on top of this rectangle here. Let me change the color and you will see the difference, right? Or I could select this, right click and go to Arrange, bring to front, and it brings that rectangle in front. So think of them as basically sheets of paper that you could put on top of each other, or you can rearrange the shape. But yeah, rearrange the orientation. What's on the bottom, what's on the top, right? So there is that layer. Within the layer, you have this arrangement, but also you have the overall layer that you can move on top of another layer, which I'll get into later. So make sure that this particular rectangle that you're going to cut with, you want to make sure that that's in the front, and you're going to use a Pathfinder tool. So you're going to select this, hold down Shift, select that, and you have the Pathfinder. If it's not open, you're going to go to Windows and go to Pathfinders. So what you can see here, these two things combine the shape. And if you looked at the Will Patterson video, he kind of goes through a lot of these things. So hopefully you guys watched it, but I can explain to you. So what I want to do is I want to do minus front, which is that one. So it took the shape that was in front of the other shape and it literally used that as a cutting tool. So now I have a clean, trapezoid or whatever you want to call that. So let's basically take this guy here. I'm going to make a copy of it. Let's rotate this. And then also, these are all, I think, 45 degrees. So if you want to rotate it in kind of regular angles, you hold down Shift and it'll just rotate in 45 degrees. So I'm going to bring this here. And you see how now I shrink it, how it gets to a really funky shape. So you want to be strategic in where you're grabbing that. Oh, no, that's not going to work. I'm just going to cut it. So I'm going to bring this here. And I am going to bring one of these guys here. Just make it bigger because I don't want to have to guess. And take that guy, shift, and that guy, and then minus front because I think this is in front. Well, let me double check. Let me turn off that opacity. Yeah, so this shape is definitely in front of that shape. So I'll take that and that, oops, shift, and then go to minus front. So now I've cut that piece off. Then I'm going to come back and create another quick cutting die and shift that, minus front. And then now it fits on that page cleanly. There's other ways to do it, like making a clipping mask and stuff like that, but we'll get into that later. Just like in any software, there's literally 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different ways of accomplishing the same task. It's just depending on how you're thinking through the process, okay? So there you go. I think that's enough of a demo. Hopefully you guys seen enough to kind of recreate all this. Don't worry about the gradient because I really don't care. I just want you guys to learn how to arrange shape, copy shape, move shape, rotate shape. It should take you guys about 10 minutes. What I recommend is just play. Use the software, be on it for 20, 30 minutes, try different things, try to break it. Okay, I'll see you in the next demo.